When you're writing it down, right? When you can master the basics,
Yes.
right? Then you can start to do some of the other stuff, right? Now you can start to be creative, but you've got to master the basics first. So I think one of the other things, on that note, is that pastorally, right, it's also my responsibility to prepare people for where they're going, right? And so with ministers, because I do take preaching seriously, right, as the pastor of preachers and some who will also pastor, right? That's why I have such strict, kind of boundaries and rules and things that I kind of hold y'all to, because you never know where you may land, right? And if you develop good habits at the beginning, when I first started playing golf, my brother, who had been playing golf longer than I had, said, well, go take lessons because you don't want to embed bad habits, right, into your game. If you get lessons on the front end, it'll be easier to fix bad habits later. Like you kind of learn the right way, then you'll be able to identify when you're doing it wrong and know what's happening. And so it's the same thing with preaching, right? It's the same thing with basketball, right? That you got to know fundamentals. That if you don't know how to shuffle, right, get low and navigate a basketball court, if you don't know how to dribble without looking down, if you don't know mechanics of shooting, you're not going to fare well, right, later. So fundamentals before flash. And so those things are important. And it certainly gives you an opportunity when you're writing out a manuscript and that discipline. Yes, it takes time, right? But you also get to see your artwork, because I do think that preaching is an art form. And in time, we also have our own voice, right? That we develop kind of our own style. And the thing that is, one of the things my friends say is you never introduce your title, right? That most people, they introduce the title in the introduction. I don't. I rarely introduce the title. Part of that is because I'm terrible at titling them. And so in my early years of preaching, the media team at Cathedral International, Brian Major, Timothy Holmes, Lloyd Vaughn, they would name my sermons. Because after the sermon was done, I'd say, what do y'all think? And they'd send me a title. I'm like, let's go with it. So a lot of my early sermons, then I get to Shiloh and I'm like, hey, Gene, what do you think that should be called? And he's like, I've got nothing for you, right? Like, you're going to have to name your own sermon. So I do name them now. Okay. But because I did not get into the habit of introducing one, because for years I didn't have one, it's not my practice, right? But that also kind of becomes my flow, that you'll see my title in my conclusion more than you'll see it in the introduction, right? So that title typically becomes like the repetitive thing as we're closing and pulling the sermon together, right? So so it's an interesting thing. But yeah, when you are writing it, you get to see it. So that repetition of words, unnecessary, right? Repetition of words. Flow, right? That if it's all in your head, sometimes it doesn't necessarily come out that way. And then the other part is that a lot of people who come to the pulpit with no notes doesn't mean they have not written a manuscript. It just means that they've read that manuscript so many times that it's committed to memory, right? But it is a discipline. And it helps us to fine tune the craft in a way that just keeping it all up here does not necessarily when you're first starting out. Right?
Yeah. So it takes discipline and years of training to be able to come to the pulpit without a manuscript.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But most of those people, if you ask a preacher who does not use a manuscript, most of them will tell you, but I write one. They just don't bring it up there because they've read it through, right? Or they outline it, and the outline is the prompter, right, for them. But you still have to do the work. Preaching is hard work. It's hard work and it's hard work, right? Because we can't preach what we don't first feel, right? Some people do, but it's not effective if it doesn't impact you, right? Then what makes you think it's going to impact the people out there, right? So we, preaching, we're first partakers. There have been times that I have prepared a sermon and I have cried the entire time. Like, Lord, how am I going to preach this? Like, I'm tired. I don't want to write this. Like, it's snatching me. But that it is a deeply humbling process when you take it seriously, and you understand that this is not just for them. I'm a Christian too, right? This is for me as well. And then you preach to people what you also feel, right? That if it's good for somebody else's discipleship journey, right? Somebody else's edification, then it's also, right? We see it first.
Yes.
We experience it first in that process of preparation for the people. Yeah.
Okay. So, how do you keep your composure when you are giving it everything you have up in the pulpit and not have a Baptist fit?
Sometimes I do have a Baptist fit. Um, so most of the time when I'm hollering, that really is my version of a Baptist fit. Yeah, sometimes it is, right? That's the when I'm closing and just, feel. Often though, I'm ready to get to that invitation. Because deeply, like, I just recognize that the world needs Christ, right? And sometimes I know that that's what's coming next after a sermon, and so I'm often eager to, like, let's get folks, let's invite people to come to Christ, and then added to that, like, I know that Shiloh is a special place. And I'm not just saying that, like, because I'm the pastor. We have something special that is happening here, that is changing lives, that's creating family, a sense of community, a place of healing for people. And I'm eager to get people, right, to extend them the invitation to become a part of it, even though we don't exclude people when they're not official members, right? Like, I feel like you come in the doors of Shiloh and you feel that love, right? But I also know the value of being part of a community of faith, right, in ways that are traceable and connectable, that hey, we're here, we're doing life together. So sometimes that's it. But there are some times that I'll go over to my seat and I have said, like, hey, y'all sing a little bit, because that's me just kind of trying to recoup. As well. So, yeah.
And I've definitely witnessed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, on many occasions. What is your vision for Shiloh and the city of Plainfield moving forward?
Yeah, so somebody asked that question.
Somebody asked that question.
And listen, I don't know if people know this, right? So it might be like, this may be the time to say it when they watch this.
Yeah.
Everything at Shiloh is intentional. And so if you watch the intro video, the people in the intro video, they share the vision every week. Literally every week. Our mission is the vision for the church, right? It is Shiloh Baptist Church is on a mission to be a place of peace where Jesus is Lord and people are loved. This is accomplished through living a balanced life, leading with excellence, loving God, self. We added self, right? I wanted self to be in there because it's important. This is a Black church. We have all are welcome, right? And we have members who are not Black, and we love them. But it's important that Black people know we've got to love ourselves, right? That with so many messages in the world around us that are contrary to self-love, right? Self had to be in there. Right. Also, because Jesus says to love that, love God, right? With all your heart, mind, soul, right? But also to love your neighbor as yourself, which means that before we can love our neighbor, there has to be some measure of love for ourselves, right? So love God, self, and others unconditionally, in humility, to the glory of God. We're committed to service, right? That is rooted, service unto God, rooted in the gospel, right? That leads to transformation and empowerment of individuals, congregation, and community. That's the vision.
That's the vision.
It's the mission. Yeah. It's the vision.
That's the vision.
Right?
Yes.
It is our mission because I envision us doing and being just that.
Yes.
Right? And so whatever empowerment and transformation means for the city of Plainfield and the region, right? and the world, right?
Right,
Because at this
right.
point, our reach goes Uganda, right? Saudi Arabia, Las Vegas. Shout out to Sister Barbara and Leasia in Las Vegas, Texas, North Carolina, Alabama. There are folks who are all over the country who tune in like to Shiloh on a weekly basis to receive their empowerment, who to receive a word from God or even experience the worship, right? So whatever that transformation means for the world around us and empowerment of the world around us, that is our vision for Shiloh. And also being clear that as time goes on, right, and as we impact in some places, the need for what needs to be transformed, right, the empowerment needs may look different,
Right.
right? So there's the spiritual needs, there are political needs, right? Political needs, what I mean, in terms of government, right? The things that impact people, that politics is our system of governance, right, in the world. And so if it means that we've got to speak truth to power, right, that we've got to have hard conversations with the people who get to make decisions that impact our people, Shiloh will be there, right, at that table to say those things. If it's educational empowerment, right, if it's providing space for our kids. Right now, we have 3 different organizations that come and utilize the gym in the summertime. Well, year round, but like in the cold months, there's a soccer group that comes in. There's been a tennis group that has come indoors to do lessons and things like that. So whatever things we can do to be kind of that lighthouse and that place where folks can come and find safety, find a better way, be exposed to a way that is, right, the will of God, right, and to experience the presence of God and the power of God and the love of God. That is who we are, but it's all, I think, encompassed in that mission that we say every Sunday in the video.
Absolutely.
Yeah, every Sunday, and it's on the website as well, right, on that page. But I think it's important, like everything we do is super intentional. There's more context clues around. That's why it's like important to pay attention. We're not just rolling video to roll it, that there's messaging in there. Even if you look at that video, one of the things that also is part of that vision, right, and hope for Shiloh is that we will always be a multi-generational church. So if you watch that intro video, there is a range of people, right? You've got little ones, you've got seniors, you've got, and every year, last year's video, the first video, for the last 4 years, or 3 that we've done an intro video for the new year, it has had that range of imaging, and we're intentional about that. Sundays, we're intentional about the range of music, right? That we can take you down home, right? But we also can bring you to contemporary music and things like that. We'll see some of that this coming Sunday with the kids, leading us in worship for Youth Sunday. We see it in our attire, right? That we can dress to the high heavens with hats and catalog suits, right? But we also we can wear sneakers and Crocs and leggings and T-shirts and on any given Sunday, all of that is here, right? Not just specific Sundays, but even when it's not dress down Sunday, there's some folks that are going to still dress down because that's them, right? And nobody looks at them crazy. On Youth Sunday, Sister Mary Clowney is still going to have on her hat, and she's going to be dressed to the nines, right? And let us know that she has dressed to the nines, right? But that's the range, and it is my hope that we always have multiple generations active, valued, and participating, right, in ministry.
And that is the beauty of Shiloh. Yeah. And that is who Shiloh is.
Right, and all kinds of people,
I love
right? Shiloh is so cool, right? Like, because you just find some of everybody here. And we found a home, not just in the building, but among each other, right? That we value. I think I'm watching the congregation where maybe in that second year, I'm like, okay, there's 3 different congregations in here and I see it every week, right? I could tell in the worship experience. But at this point, right, getting ready to celebrate the 4th year, I'm like, I can't tell, right? Because people have kind of gelled working together. I'll scroll social media sometimes and I'm like, wait a minute, you spend holidays with them? Like they just got here and they're spending holidays. Their, children have got extended aunties and uncles, right? Things like that. And that is the beauty of the family of God. That's what the church is supposed to be for us historically, even for Black people. Dr. Breonna Parker, who is the founder of the Black Millennial Cafe, branded, some T-shirts that say, "I still believe in the Black church." And a lot of Dr. Parker's work is about kind of bridging that gap and finding spaces for an emerging generation, which was the millennial generation at the time that she founded it in the church, right? Because the statement was, I still believe in the Black church. And historically, that's what the Black church had been. That you have churches, and probably here years ago had an Alabama group, right? An Alabama ministry or committee, maybe the Louisiana group and folks, because when people were migrating, right, north, looking for work and looking for better, they knew that if you found a Black church, right, you could find some folks who are from Alabama like you are, and now that becomes your family, right? Or they call, like, so-and-so's aunt, or I got a niece up north, so when you get there, go find my niece, and they'll help you until you get on your feet. My grandmother, when my family first came up from Alabama, they actually moved to Staten Island, New York, and they were members of St. Philip Baptist Church there. Pastor H. McMartin, who was my first pastor at Second Baptist Church, he would run revival every year at St. Philip, right? Pastor Martin told the pastor at St. Philip that there was a hospital in Perth Amboy that was intentionally hiring Black nurses and dietitians. And so the pastor tells my grandmother, that's how we ended up in Perth Amboy, right? It was about the Black church being the center for information, for empowerment, for things, right? And then we share the information. Hey, wait a minute, you're a nurse, you studying to be a nurse? You need to get over to Perth Amboy because they're hiring, they're doing, right? That's what it had been for us. And I think we still have that, right? That is, wait, your child wants to go where? I graduated with somebody who's the dean over there, so let's make a phone call and make the connection. You're re-emerging from a jail sentence. We're not gonna leave you hanging. We know someone that may hire you, right? Or come over here and get these community service hours so we can write a letter so that you can start your life over. That's what the church has been. And I think that we're seeing it happen at Shiloh in a lot of ways. We had a young woman, Nicole, maybe watching this, is from another country. She's from the Caribbean, but is here and had graduated Rutgers and was looking to go into law school. But there's a test you gotta pass. And when she shared that with us, it's like, wait a minute, we've got attorneys here. And so we reached out to Brother Stan and some others, like, hey, will you help her? Right? And it was no question. Absolutely. Right? Because that's what the Black church is. We ride for each other. We die for each other. Right? We're going to do what we can to empower one another. So at our best, that's what we are. Right? Now, that's notwithstanding that there have been times where the church has been at her worst. Right? At Shiloh, my hope as a pastor is to always ensure that this is a safe environment, that as minimally toxic as we can be in a place where there are people, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I can't say that we will be completely toxic, right? Completely non-toxic, because wherever people are, we bring our stuff, right? And until people grow and mature, we kind of have still a little toxic on us, right? So there'll always be that, but as non-toxic as we can be, I'm committed, right, to that. And it really starts with what happens over the pulpit, right? The kind of culture that we're shaping and modeling as leaders. Why leaders get a lot of, the fussing. Like, wait a minute, if it's anybody, it cannot be named among us because we're influencing culture. So as non-toxic as we can be, but as empowering and loving, and even being a safe harbor, right, for people until they get their strength back, right, until they start to see themselves the way God sees them. that's my hope. And I think that is the community that Shiloh has been and is also becoming more of, right? Shiloh had a core and a connection before I got here. When I was first called to be the pastor, I was having these one-on-one conversations with people at Red Lobster. And I learned a lot, right? Going all the way back to Pastor A. Ross Brent and the kind of community that was there, the years with Pastor Henry, the years of building and trying to make a miracle happen, right? With Pastor Thomas. Into those interim years where where Reverend Thorpe led the team and led the church and held things together until another pastor could come, and then those years, and then the time that they went into a pandemic, and again Reverend Thorpe was leading to here. Shiloh has had a legacy of sticking together, right? A legacy of journeying together and loving one another, and I think that we are. Probably that has been tested, right, in these last 4 years because there's a lot of new people. It's one thing to ride for people that you've known for 63 years, right, or 30 years. Absolutely. It's another thing to have these new folks come in, and a lot of them, this is their first church, right? So they don't have church ego yet, right? The shout falls, they might do kung fu, they might swing some punches, and we got to know that, hey, they're just giving God what they have. That's an MMA fighter, right? That there may be some rough edges, some things that people don't know. And I've loved watching, right, that connectedness be tested and then see the congregation come out on the other side with it being a principle. You know what I'm saying?
I do know.
Because it's not principle if it only applies to certain people in the community, right? But when it applies to everybody in the community, then it's a foundational, governing kind of principle that over here, this is how we are as a family. And I've loved seeing that happen. Yeah.
In fact, at Vacation Bible School last night, the new members, they're active. They love being here.
Yeah.
They're involved. They're engaged.
Yeah.
And that was so beautiful to witness last night.
For me, it was, one of the things, I did an interview with Dr. Mapson, who has years of frame of reference for Shiloh, all the way back to Pastor Henry and A. Ross Brent. And it, in that interview, he was kind of saying some things that he had witnessed, and then having been here this year for our church anniversary, and seeing, how things have shifted, and how much things have changed as well. One of the things that I said was there was a core group of people that were here when I got here, who loved their church, and they wanted the church to live. So one of the greatest joys being the pastor is seeing the smiles on the faces of those people, right? At church meetings, and when we're reporting numbers or we're reporting church growth, and just kind of seeing that we prayed that there would be another season, and here it is, and seeing those same people lean into the shift, right? They're not trying to sabotage it. They're not quenching the excitement of new members. Now, we'll always have people stuff. And I think it's good. The church should have a couple ornery people around to keep us honest, right? Just remind us that we got to work, right? That we're a work in progress. You need some people. That Bishop Oliver Brown would say, you look like you ate a persimmon sandwich. Now, I don't know what a persimmon tastes like, but I imagine it makes your face ball up and look a little angry by the time you taste it. Don't try it and let me know, right, what it tastes like. But, we need a couple people around with that. And to be honest, on any given day, it can be any of us, right? But just watching that core group, right? The folks who were in the town hall meeting when I was being kind of vetted as a candidate, and the questions they were asking, and watching them just kind of smile and scoot by and be super excited that there's people for them to mentor and teach different things to, and how to navigate ministry and how we do things, and it's been amazing, right? Because it's clear that God has answered the prayers of this faithful core of people who has loved their church, and now there's some new folks that also get to love on them, right? As well. So, yeah,
Yes. Yeah, we love you so
I
much.
really
So
do.
thank you. Happy anniversary.
Thank
And we're
you.
excited for many, many, many more years to come.
Amen. Me
Yes.
too.